How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. There is a lot to talk about regarding the future of this Cincinnati Bengals football team going forward. Who they retain, who they keep, who they draft. There is a lot to be talked about, but I think there's nothing that is a bigger tone setter and more important for this team than the contract extension of Joe Burrow. The contract that I think needs to be taken care of before anything else happens this offseason, because I think, again, it sets the tone for the rest of this roster. The big question, a lot of people ask is, will Joe Burrow take a hometown discount? Will Joe Burrow take a little bit off for the Cincinnati Bengals? And that's a really important question, I think. This guy, let's not get crazy here. This guy is on pace, or not even on pace, it's gonna happen. The guy's gonna get 50 million plus a year if he wants it. You consider, and we brought this up earlier, Patrick Mahomes is the 5th highest paid quarterback in the league right now. When Patrick Mahomes signed that contract, he said, I took a little bit off for the team. And I think people laughed at him. They really did. Like, oh, you took $45 million. You're getting $500 million. You took a little bit off for the team. Well, now you flash forward all of 1 year. He's played 1 year of this contract because, he signed it before the year. 2 years ago, he signs that contract. So he's played 1 year on this contract. He has 9 years left on his 10-year contract. He's the 5th highest paid quarterback in the league right now. So number one, I think that's super important for the Bengals. You lock this guy down 10 years because the salary cap has gone up 15, 12, 15, 18, million these last couple years. On average, it's gone up over 10 million or 10, 11 million every year since 2015, with the exception of the year of COVID. So it's important because it's like, well, guess what? They're going to have 50 million more in cap space in 5 years. If you can have your quarterback cheaper, he'll be cheaper in 5 years, essentially. That's the way I like to think of it with these long-term contracts with quarterbacks. Right now, 50-51 looks terrible. It's like, wow, how are you going to manage a team with paying a quarterback $55 million a year? Well, easily in 5 years, because he's going to be the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th highest paid quarterback. People are going to look back and say, how did they get him this cheap? It's just the way players appreciate or in value. And we've seen that time and time again. That's always going to be a thing in the NFL, especially lately. The way the salary cap's gone up ridiculously high these last couple seasons. We'll see if that continues. Obviously, you can't bank on it, but you can kind of expect it. Inflation, everything else, it's probably going to happen. And just the way the NFL has been doing. I mean, the price for a Super Bowl commercial this year has been ridiculous. But that all being said, it's like, hey, I'm more at peace now thinking, hey, if you want to pay Joe Burrow $51 million, making the highest paid quarterback in the league right now, it might be like, that's going to cripple your team, but I don't think it will. If you sign this guy 10 years, the worst thing they can do is say, here's 5 years, 50 million, or 5 years, 51 million, because then 5 years from now, he's going to be getting 60, 65 million a year, which sounds ridiculous now, but it's probably going to be a thing. So I think, you get him now, it's like, okay, 5 years from now, 60, 65 million is what he's worth. You're getting him for 50 million. It's like, oh, that's a 15 million discount. It's like, yeah, that was a good deal. I do think, though, Joe Burrow, he really is this, I want to call him like a Tom Brady kind of guy. And what Tom Brady did, part of this Patriots dynasty, was he consistently took money off of his contract. He wasn't trying to be the highest paid player in the league. He left room for other guys, so other guys in his team could eat, so they could bring in other talent around him and put his team in position to win Super Bowls. I still feel like that's kind of just the demeanor of Joe Burrow, is like he's willing to take money off. Again, you look at the quarterback position makes so much money, though. You can't imagine this guy. I wouldn't expect him. There's a level of disrespect in this where you say, Joe, you want to take a contract, you want to take a little bit of a cut, help the team out. There's some disrespect, where you say, Joe Burrow, I'm going to give you 40 million a year. It's like, you want me to be the 10th highest paid quarterback in the league after I brought you to 2 straight AFC championship games, a Super Bowl? Like, there's a point there where it's like, that's kind of disrespectful. I would love for him, the Bengals ownership, and Joe Burrow to say, Joe, are you willing to take a pay cut? What do you think? And, pull the old, what was it, Johnny Bench? Pull the old Johnny Bench out of, throw the guy the blank check and see what he wants. Because he can have whatever he wants, right? And if he says he wants 55 million, then you bounce back. But it's like, otherwise, don't disrespect the guy. What this guy is capable of doing for your franchise, you just pay him. You want to disrespect other, sure, you can replace everyone else. You ain't replacing what Joe Burrow's done for this team and what he can do for this team in the next 15 years. That being said, again, I think if you could get Joe for 46, 45 million a year, if you could say, okay, we'll give you Patrick Mahomes money, 45, 46, he's still Real again, fourth, fifth highest paid quarterback in the league. And he's taking a few million. Clearly, he's taking $4 to $5 million off the books. The rest of the team, and this is what's really important to me. I'm not trying to not give Joe Burrow his money because I think he deserves it more than anybody on this team. But I think you got to sit here and play the message it sends. This is what's really important. This is a team that's really come together. The camaraderie. They feel like they play for each other. They're not selfish players. They're all for each other. And when you're a leader, the number one man on your team says, hey fellas, I like what we're doing here. I like playing with you guys. I want to keep as many of you around as possible. I'm going to take $4 or $5 million off of my contract per year so I can keep some more players around. That sets the tone for everyone else. That says, oh, okay, if Joe can do it, what's the difference for me from $20 million to $18 million? Besides Jesse Bates can't handle it. He already mentioned it. Like he's like, I can't feed my family with $60 million. I need $70 million. That $10 million pay cut's not going to work. That's his thing. That's his choice. But I think there's going to be a lot of guys, especially Joe Burrow guys. Like I'm really interested in Jamar Chase. Like this guy is going to get, if he wants it, he's going to get 32 million a year when his contract expires easily. The highest paid wide receiver right now is 30. You consider he's going to get highest paid wide receiver in the league money. If he wants it, he can have it. But it's like, well, he wants to play with his buddy Joe Burrow. You don't need 30, 32. He could say, let's go 26 or 27. He's like, I'll take some off for the team as well so I can stay here. And you only need a couple guys like that. You say, okay, we just saved $10 million here. That $10 million can go be spent on an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. The difference it makes for a couple guys is kind of chip in. And that starts by the guy that sets the tone, the leader of this team. So I think it's big what Joe Burrow does here, because if he squeezes the franchise for every dime, then that's going to trickle down to everyone else, and you got a lot of decisions to make. But you get your man to go out there and say, hey, look, he's trying to help us out as well. He wants to win games. Like, you're going to bring that winning culture in, not only with your current players, but, free agents that, again, are willing to take that slight pay cut. We talked about this with the Jesse Bates contract. There's guys out there that are going to want to try to be put on a championship team. Veterans out there that say, I want to try to win a championship. I've been playing on a not-so-good team. I know this will put me in a position. I'll take less. I've made my money. I'll take less to be put on this team and potentially win a championship. It's so important, I think, what Joe Burrow does in this contract negotiation for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's so important the Bengals lock him down. Again, there's no choice if you're the Bengals. You got to just kind of hope this guy is willing. It's more of what is Joe Burrow willing to do to help this team, as far as win games. Can he take a little money off? I don't think there's a question. You pay him whatever he wants. He's always going to, no matter how much money he takes, he's always going to have that elite franchise quarterback effect that draws in free agents, that entices some players to take money off to get a chance to play with this guy and a chance to win championships. So for that being said, though, I still think, though, if Joe Burrow gets the most money he wants, I think we're talking 52, 53 million at least a year. There might be a bigger gap being that he's a younger quarterback. We've seen Rodgers get 50 million last year, a couple years, it was last year, 2 years ago. People thought that was crazy. It's like, no, it wasn't crazy. The guy won back-to-back MVPs. He was the best player in the league 2 straight years, and he got $50 million a year. Like, that was, if you want to say you played you deserve your contract, you deserve your contract. So it's going to be interesting to see what Joe Burrow gets. Man, it would be nice though if that's it. $5 or $6 million off the contract. It's still $45 million. He's still going to make $500 million freaking dollars. I'd love to see it. But if there's a guy that's earned every single penny of his contract, there's no question about it. It's Joe Burrow. Love your guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.